Okay, we're going to get started. First, I'd like to thank everybody for getting their steps in tonight, because I know many people are parked anywhere from 1 to 2 miles away. But thank you for making the trip, making the journey, finding a parking spot, and finding the gym down here, because obviously we've had another location in the past. So everybody who managed to get through, park, and get here, thank you for being here tonight. I'm privileged to do the thank yous. Every year I want to thank the many people who are involved to make DARA what it's become over the many years. The people who recruit and get all these wonderful people and vendors in all the different places to come here this evening so that people can walk around and get information, get brochures, get contacts, and learn that there is a lot of help out there if we just look and find it. Sometimes in a crisis situation, it's very difficult to say, hey, I'm going to Google this, and I'm going to find help. It's nice that you can walk around, take cards, take information, take pens, take packets, have stuff right in front of you with telephone numbers on it so that you can get help. That's one of the big things that DARA has done over the many years, is trying to connect all these great resources with people in need or people who know people who might need help. I'd first like to welcome everybody. This is our 16th DARA Forum since it started 9 years ago. Here's where I get a lot of thank yous in. We'd like to thank our videographer, Scott Rowland, who's done it for many years. Our photographer, Gina Myers, who keeps accusing me of jumping in every photo. Especially to Bob Varga and the North Penn YMCA for adopting this program and making it part of what they feel is important for the community and allowing us to use this great location for these events. To our communication coordinator, Hannah Klein. To Judge Duffy's intern, Ben Keelis Rosa. Where's Ben? To our dedicated website designer, Roger Hammond. Lynn Drakowski, who is our tables coordinator, she actually has the hard job because she has to get everybody here, figure out where to put all the tables and set it up. Thank you, Lynn. To Sally Kaufman for all the free Wishing You Greatness books that she brought this evening. Sally should be somewhere around here. To John Becker, who's here for the Center for Addiction and Recovery Education at St. Joe's University, for being here with the Narcan. As I said to John earlier, that little thing he has on his table, Narcan, my daughter's roommate in college's brother if he had the Narcan, they would have saved his life. Instead, unfortunately, by the time they got him to the hospital, he's gone. And so every time I look at those little boxes, I just say, wow, that's all it would have taken. I know I tried to walk around and catch everybody. I saw Judge Lavenberg here this evening. I know we have obviously someone who is probably one of the most well-known, nationally renowned program that's recognized all over the state as well as the country, Judge O'Neill, who started the program many years ago. And if I missed anybody, I'm sure Andrea will either kick me or tell me later, and I'll come up and announce them. Just want to remind everybody that we also have and Dale Rimmer for bringing all the DARA water, because it's kind of warm in here, and I see a lot of people with water bottles. Dale, thank you for bringing the water this evening. Appreciate it. And remember, one of the big things with DARA is the resources, being able to go on, which is DARA Saves Lives with an S, D.A.R.A. S-A-V-E-S Lives, L-I-V-E-S @gmail.com, and on Facebook. So that if you're ever in that crisis situation or you know someone who's looking for help, you can go on those sites and reach out and get information. It's there. There's a lot of information. Obviously, you can get it this evening, but sometimes you forget, sometimes you lose it. So there's other resources for you to go and get that information, find those resources in the time of crisis. I want to introduce the person who started with all this 9 years ago. She managed to talk the 2 lieutenants from Hatfield Township and Montgomery Township, and then she said, "Hey, Greg, we need your help setting this up." So I said, "Okay, what's this meeting about?" And she said, "I see a need out there in the community, and people come in front of me, and they need help, and before we get them help, they're back in addiction, dead, or disappeared." So obviously, being the smart woman she is, she got the 2 lieutenants from the 2 townships in which she was a magisterial district judge, and got them to meet and buy into this to see if there was any way in which she could pull together a team of resources, which she still did, and many of them are still here tonight, I mean, to say, hey, if I have someone in front of me in court and I think there's a good chance they're going to end up dead or worse, maybe we can try and do something to get them help right away from the bench. That's how this all got started. And Judge Duffy, many years ago, I mean, I'm not going to fib, I was a little skeptical. I'm thinking, is she really going to be able to do this? Well, she was smart enough. You have to get the police departments on board. You have to, make sure the district attorney's office, if they're there, understand that sometimes you have to do this. It was not an easy task. Saving people's lives, whenever you're saying, hey, you either go in for help or you go to jail, it was a risk. But she felt that sometimes that was what had to be done, because if you don't either get them in a safe environment or get them into a program, there's a good chance they're going to be their last, hey, I'm going to do it one last time, and they overdose and they're gone. So she did that, and she saved many lives and did many things over the many years. Fortunately, we have a new program in place in the county that is trying to live up and to do the same things that Judge Duffy came up with 9 years ago. So I just have to tell everybody the number of lives and the number of people she's saved is why this program is still somewhat going after 9 years. So if we can all bring our hands together and thank them.
I'm so grateful. There's so many people who are here, who have been here with us for so long. It's a lot of so's, but it's so true. This forum is again dedicated to the memory of Michael Wilson and Stephanie Waters, and you will hear later from their parents. In addition to bringing together the main parties that Greg talked about, I also attended the funeral of Michael Wilson. He was the son of Lieutenant Ray Wilson, who's here today, and he'll speak to you briefly. But I think the most important thing I got out of that going to the funeral, and I had never met him, was that I was bawling my eyes out because I felt so helpless that something could have been done. Why couldn't I have done something? And that's how I felt every time there were parents in my courtroom crying for me not to let their loved ones languish out on the streets or languish in prison, getting no help. Oh, hi there. So many loved ones here. Yeah, I thank you so much. I have to say, I have some wonderful friends from the Republic of Georgia. I actually just went to the Republic of Georgia this summer to talk to their bar association about DARA. Can you believe that? All the way to the Republic of Georgia. So, Great people. Thank you, Layla, for having me. They want me back to speak to their judges about this program, because I truly believe that judges can get involved, especially at my level, because we're there fresh off the arrest when people really are wanting the help. And we need to get them while they're still wanting the help, because we can't let them back on the streets, and we don't want them to languish in jail. Recovery's tough enough, right? Finding treatment shouldn't be. And waiting for treatment can be life-threatening. Time can kill people who are addicted. So I think Greg stole some of my speech here, but clearly we learned that addressing things very early on in the legal process was the way to help people. And I'm going to go grab my glasses. I'm not getting older, just getting better, right? Okay, so we needed that local team approach to overcome the main obstacles that you all know if you are familiar and love someone who is struggling. The bed availability, insurance, assessment, and transportation. We conquered all of that with our bail. And we were getting facilities to provide transportation right from the prison. We got assessments. Sometimes I did it by handing the phone over the bench. I mean, no lie. And we always found available beds. It's a complete fallacy that there aren't enough beds. Look at these number of tables here today. There are enough beds. What we need are connections. And it's so sad to see resources wasted because they are there. And I thank Lynn Truskowski and Hope Stein, who have been my right-hand ladies since 2016, 2017. I love you. I am so grateful that you have been with me on this journey. I mean, we had so many great connections. Gary Chesney at the prison, inmate services coordinator. No task was too big. We made this work. And, you know, it is tough that I can't do what I used to do. I still can do this. And that's why we're still trying to have forums. The International Festival Foundation sponsored us today. And they would like me to have DARA be a part of their health education program, so we're going to talk about that. But with that local team approach, I am very proud that within 1 to 3 business days, we were able to get 1,000 people into treatment. And like Greg said, you know, the county has done a different direction, taken a different direction with getting people into treatment. So I don't know the exact future of DARA, but one thing I'm sure of, and that's that DARA meant something. DARA meant a new life for so many people, and I'm so grateful to everyone who supported us through the years. Tonight we're here to understand the nature of addiction. We're here to break down unfair and often deadly stigma, and we're here to embrace and support people who are struggling and their families. Recovery happens, and I'm so proud because tonight we feature some people who have been through DARA and come out on the great end. And they probably hated me, and it's okay. They did, and believe me, they were pains. I'm not going to lie. They weren't the easiest of people in my courtroom, but that's okay because I love them dearly. And coming back to court to hug me, bring me flowers, bring their children, bring their parents, bring their new spouse. I officiated a wedding even. So what I'm saying is, woohoo! This has been my honor and a real privilege to be able to meet these people. These are now my friends. These are people who I care about deeply, and I'm so blessed that I was able to touch their lives. So right now, though, we are very honored to welcome to DARA for the second time Judge Stephen O'Neill, who began the award-winning and very successful Montgomery County Drug Court program nearly 20 years ago and still handles it to this day. So please, Judge O'Neill, if you'd like to come up just to say a few words about this wonderful anniversary.
Few words is not a phrase that is associated. I really am here simply as someone to witness the power of recovery. This is an organization that's always stood for that. Whatever it takes to get people into recovery, that was the founding, basis for drug treatment court. Programs that are meant to change the optics, that are meant to accomplish things that I don't really think are realistic when we're talking about the deadly disease of substance use disorder, is what Judge Duffy's referring to. It's cutting the heart out of treatment court as well. The criminal justice system is creating pathways through probation reform, detention hearings, and where we are simply not able to get and serve as many people. We have built out our program to where we can serve hundreds of people in the criminal justice system, and we're not able to do so. As we enter into our 20th year, we will be celebrating in May. We've at least had the good fortune of having people who are in real long structured recovery for over 18 months, and we've had just about 900 graduates, about 150, 200 drug-free babies, but most important drug-free parents, drug-free children of parents that this disease and the chaos and the wreckage that this disease brings into the personal lives of those associated, those people that are here whose loved ones suffer that disease and have unfortunately passed from that disease. So, look, recovery works. It will always work. And those that work it begin to see the benefits, and hopefully they're out there preaching, and hopefully the testimony that we will get to hear tonight from those in recovery, and sadly the testimony of those who this disease wreaked its final outcome on. But we're there. We have a really great system of recovery. We are recognized, as she said, at least in the Commonwealth, we're a champion court. We are built out to accommodate many, many people. If only we can get law enforcement, probation, treatment services, anybody. If you find anybody who finds himself in the criminal justice system with a substance use disorder, please call me personally if you need to be. Call Judge Duffy. She'll get in touch with me. We do have a functioning, strong, operating treatment court that is working every single day. So again, thanks for just allowing me to come up here really with a few words. But we will be celebrating our 20th year in May, National Drug Court Month. And again, we hope to have so many of those graduates there. And we invite all those for the DARA Forum to come and celebrate simply recovery, which is an achievable purpose in the criminal justice system still to this day. And we don't have to continue to suffer the tragedies of loss and lives that are completely destroyed by substance use disorder. So thank you for having me, and I will be glad to listen.
Okay, I always say this before we really begin our presentation. I just want to have Terry Durstein from Sweatshirt of Hope come up here. Through the years, if you've been faithful attendees, you know that I always have someone offer just a little bit of prayer, because we need all the help we can get, and we've had every faith here imaginable. But Terry's been a great support of D.A.R.A. He is the head of an amazing September, what would we call it, a festival? Hope Fest, yes. So I'm going to have him speak just a couple minutes, a couple seconds, right?
Couple seconds. Yeah, so I have a daughter that's been in addiction for years, so can't really help her right now, but we're trying, but we're helping other people, just trying to. So we do an event, be the 19th and 20th of September next year. So it's in Souderton, Pennsylvania. So check out the website, sweatshirtofhope.org, and be glad to have you. So I want to thank Judge Duffy and all the people that put this together, because I think we just need to keep addressing the epidemic that's out there. So let's pause a minute to thank our Lord for another day. Father God, we just pause to thank you for the many blessings that you have graciously given us. Thank you for allowing us to live in a free country where we can enjoy freedoms and choices that many around the world may not have. Yet, in these freedoms and choices come challenges. Many of us carry deep burdens for family members, friends, and co-workers who are walking through seasons of brokenness and addiction. Father, we are grateful for the organizations and individuals who have a heart to help those caught up in addiction. Strengthen the ministry's work. Give them the wisdom, compassion, and endurance they require to carry us through on their task. We pray and thank each one. Find health, way back to health, wholeness, and the productive life you created. Thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. And let's just have one moment of silence to remember those who have passed. Thank you. Now I would like to have Ray Wilson and Margie come up and talk with us, just in the little, right up here at the table. Come on up. Now we go. Here we go. And you have one over there too. So these two beautiful people have become a really special part of DARA, a special part of my life. Okay, that's not good. Okay, well, we'll see. I did explain to you Lieutenant Ray Wilson, former lieutenant. He's retired now from Hatfield Police Department. I attended his son's funeral in 2015, Michael, and his picture does pop up here somewhere in the frame. And I did sit in that funeral home and cried my eyes out, and I'd never met Michael, but I could see what suffering was caused by that overdose that never needed to happen. And I'll introduce Margie after. Maybe you can say a few things so you can some parents who are here. I know there's plenty of parents here. Some have lost people, and I see them, and I see the people who luckily have their children still by their side. What can you say to offer to these people?
You might have to. It's been over 10 years now, and it's still really tough to talk about it, but I actually want to say that there was not much that I could do, for my son when this started, but actually this organization was a great help to me. It felt good to be with other parents and people that were going through struggles, and I did some talks, and it just always made me feel good that when I could come here and talk. And you always hear that line that, when I came and did these talks, that hopefully if I saved one life, it was worth it. And I really do credit Andrea and the DARA organization for helping me. It saved me, because I'm not sure if I would have made it without this organization. I think about him every day, and it's tough, but thanks to this organization for helping me, get through it.
Now this next lovely lady sitting right here with me, Margie Waters. Margie and I met in court, first with her daughter, who was suffering from a substance abuse disorder, and then her son. Sadly, her daughter did not make it, even though we tried. We sure did. And she was so full of energy, so full of light. And unfortunately, she didn't die from opioids. She ended up going to the only thing she could, which was accessible, which was alcohol. Her son, however, is doing marvelously. And I follow him on Facebook and watch his adorable little son growing up to be quite a little bundle of joy. So I'm going to let Margie talk to you about what she's been through, because I don't think many people can even appreciate her situation, where you've lost one child and also you still have one, and both from addiction.
Yeah, on December 17th, 2017, I joined a club that I didn't want to join. I lost my daughter. My daughter did not overdose. She actually died of liver failure from alcohol and drug abuse. She could have overdosed just as easy as she could have had cirrhotic liver. It didn't matter. I met Judge Duffy because I wrote her a letter and said, please put my daughter in jail. I wanted her to be a place where I knew where she was, because half the time I didn't know where she was. My daughter was supposed to show up for court. She didn't. I did. Judge Duffy and I forged a bond that day, and we became close friends. She found my daughter, brought her in, and made her go to treatment. She went to treatment many times, and it's not for lack of trying. She fought a good fight. It was just stronger than her. I've often said a lot of times addicts like to have company, and she got her brother involved, and he went to jail. He had a choice to go to treatment or go to jail, and he didn't have insurance. He went to jail. Best thing for him. Because of Judge Duffy, we managed to scramble, and he got coverage for health care, but he spent a few days in jail, and that's all it took for him, and he was finished. He's been clean and sober for 8 years now. He has a little boy. So while I lost one, and I thank Judge Duffy because she literally saved his life, because if it wasn't for her intervention, I don't know where he would be today. They say time heals all wounds. It doesn't. It hurts just as much today as it did 8 years ago. My daughter left behind a beautiful daughter. That's her picture right there. My other daughter painted it, so I'm grateful. I am pay close attention to this child because her father just got out of treatment. He had a relapse. And it's so important for us to communicate with our children, educate our children, and let them know they can come to us and talk to us. This little girl's going to be 13 years old. A really rough time for anybody, adolescence. I wouldn't want to do it again. Not that I have the opportunity. But I keep the lines of communication open for her. I'm honest with her. I talk to her about both her parents and their addictions and let her know that she can come to me anytime with any problem, and I'll do whatever I can to help her. Again, I'm grateful to Judge Duffy and Montgomery Township Police, who are fabulous. They were called to my house many times, and most of the officers were the epitome of kindness and understanding, and to that I'm grateful. I have no answers. All these folks around me from the treatment centers, they're the ones who have probably more answers than I do, but all I know is it's a devastating disease. It's horrible to go through, and I will never recover from it myself. Thank you, Andrea.
This beautiful painting is on my bench every day as a reminder that, babies from people who were struggling can survive this, and they can become beautiful, beautiful people. And there's always a good reason to fight for someone in addiction. Okay, now I'm going to have the fun part, right? We're going to bring up Courtney, and we're going to bring up Robert and Trevor, and last but not least, Joey. So come on up. Sit anywhere you want. And before I forget, boy, I can keep just going all over the place, can't I? Hidden High and Hammered, Beth Sturman, who is just an expert at how teenagers can manage to hide their unmentionables, their addiction, their vaping, their whatever it may be. She has an excellent table. Beth, are you in here right now? There she is. Please go visit when we finish, because she can show you some tricks of the trade. And I think it's really important for those of us who do have children who are in the teenage or 20s age especially, that you figure out some things before it gets to a horrible point. I have 4 children myself. 2 are back there, and it's by the grace of God that I'm not utilizing services of all these wonderful tables, because this can happen to anyone. This is not a moral failing. This doesn't happen to poor families or those who aren't religious or those who, are broken because of divorce, or you name it. The stigma is still out there, and it drives me crazy because some of the most wonderful people come into my court, and some of the most wonderful people go out healthy and thriving and productive members of society. And here, I've got them right here. Look at this. All right, the first story, where's Joey? Here he is. This one's too funny because I helped Joey, and he'll tell you more, a few years back, right? And 6 years, okay. I forget all these things. But I showed up for work one day to officiate a marriage. And there he was. And he's like, do you remember me? You saved my life. Can you imagine being, honestly, those words are so incredible to hear. I gave him the biggest hug and then married him. So he's doing really, really well. I didn't know how to best do this. Thank you. So I'm going to let Joey do most of the talking, as I am going to do with most of the people up here. But I can tell you that he is funny, warm, loving. He's got the best family. They're all here. Go ahead, shout out. Woo! So he's got support, and I wish I could have everyone in his family come up and talk about their experience, but Joey, maybe you could take that mic to switch it on and tell us your story. Go ahead. And you can even tell them how much you didn't like me at first. It's okay.
I'll definitely get to that, don't worry. Do I sound all right? Okay. So my addiction actually started about 6 years ago. 9 years ago, back in 2016. Started out with pills, some Percocets, anything, benzos, Xanax, all of that. The way I got into that lifestyle was because I never felt like I fit in anywhere in life. As a teenager, it was very hard to grow up. I went through depression. I always wanted to be alone. I never left my room. I never wanted to go outside. I just did not feel like I fit in anywhere. I did not like myself. A lot of that is because I am gay, and when I was a teenager, it was hard to even acknowledge that or even to want to come out to anybody. That was hard. So in 2016, I met a group of friends, and I finally felt like I fit in. These people accepted me. They wanted me around. They just I felt a part of something for once. That's what it was. And they were doing the things that I always told my mom I would never do. I always told my mom when I grew up I would never be a drug addict. And look what happened. Look where I'm at. So hanging around these people, I got involved, like I said, in the pills. I got involved in the lifestyle. I didn't care about anybody else but myself. Those people just wanted to be around me just to use me for the drugs, the money, the car, the transportation to get it all. Late 2017, July 4th, I actually remember the first day that I've ever used fentanyl. Now, those friends that I was hanging around, they were doing it before I even touched it. I was taking them down to Kensington and Philadelphia, and I wasn't even doing the drugs. The first time I ever stepped foot in Kensington, I felt like I entered a different world. It was hell. And there's a lot of broken souls down there, and they need help too. A lot of people suffering. On July 4th, 2017, when I first did fentanyl, my friends were doing it. I was on probation at the time for simple assault due to being on Xanax the year prior. I didn't care. I didn't care about the fact that I was on probation. I didn't care about any of that. I thought I was invincible. The law's never gonna get me for anything, never, right? We all think we're superheroes. But I wanted to do what they were doing because I saw how it made them feel. And I was like, well, maybe they'll like me more if I snort that line off the table. And I did. And I fell in love. I fell in love with the feeling of fentanyl. I'm not afraid to admit that. As the years go by, leading up to 2019, my addiction got worse and worse. The snorting led to injecting using a needle. It's the reality of it. I'm going to give you guys the truth. It's what it leads to. I ended up walking the streets of Kensington. Like I said before, I wasn't even doing the drugs. I was taking the people down there to get it, but now look, I'm walking the streets of Kensington. And I'm hanging around some of the worst people, having guns pulled out on me, put in situations that I should have never been in, honestly, ever. The things that I did in addiction, I ruined my family. I stole from my mother. My stepfather passed away in 2018 due to a motorcycle accident, and I relapsed that same day. I tried to be clean, tried to get sober, but I relapsed on fentanyl the day he passed. And after he died, things got out of control. Every tool that he had in the garage, I took to the scrapyard, got money for it. I was taking money out of my mom's pocketbook when she was sleeping. I was taking money off her credit card while she was sleeping. I would go to the bank, put her PIN in, and take the money out. That's what I did. I hurt my mother. Something that I would never do, and I did it. Stole everything from her. Money, trust, everything, gone. The way I met Judge Duffy was because on February 9, 2019, I was dope sick. I woke up and I needed my fix. And if anybody in here has ever been on drugs, you guys know the feeling. It's not good. You just need it, you know, because it's all fun and games at first, but then it becomes a lifestyle. You need that medicine. It's your medicine, but it's also your best friend too. So on February 9, 2019, like any addict would do, nobody would give me money, so I had to come up with a plan. I needed to get money somehow. I waited for my mom to go in the shower. I made sure I had everything that I would need for my adventure down to Philly. And I took money out of her purse again, and this time I stole her car. But there's been a lot of what I call God moments in my life after that day. As I was driving down to Kensington, I actually got reared off because there was an accident. There was a car under a tractor trailer, and I took that as you have that voice in the back of your head that says, don't go, turn around and go back home. All that voice I didn't listen to, I just kept going. Well, coming back, I stopped, did what I had to do, and I got back behind the wheel. Stupidest decision I could have made. Because what I didn't know what was about to happen was my addiction ruined my family completely, but was about to ruin other people's. Going down the road, 45 miles per hour, head on into another car. I fell asleep at the wheel. That's what happened. Everybody is still alive that was in the other car, and I'm very grateful for that. And I do pray for them every day, and I think about them every day. Last I heard, they are doing good, and they just wanted me to get sober and wanted to just see me, really do, live life, the way that I should. But after that accident, I didn't care. I didn't care. I just wanted to keep getting high. I wanted to keep going because I was like, you know what? I'm invincible. The law's not going to get me. I'm not going to get caught. They're probably just going to bring me in the courtroom and let me go like any other time they did. Probation it is, Not this time. About 6 weeks later, April 3rd, 2019, my mom gets a phone call from Hatfield Police Department, one of the detectives over there. Your son needs to turn himself in. If he doesn't, we're going to come get him. What did I do the next day? I turned myself in. My sister and a good friend of mine, who are not here tonight, they both came with me. I was taken from Hatfield Police Station to Judge Duffy's courtroom. And that day, and that feeling of invincible went out the room. I met my match. I did. Out of all the judges that I've ever came across, Judge Duffy saw right through my BS. She did. She took one look at me, took one look at the report in front of her. You saw my levels of fentanyl at the time of my accident. Your jaw hit the floor. I can't remember the number, but it hit the floor. She took one look at me and said, and I thought I was going home. I did. I said, I'm going home. I know where I'm going after this. And what did you say to me? You're going right to jail. You won't be in there long. I'll get you into a treatment center, but you're going to jail. And I was mad because she was in the way of me and my next fix. And you can clap for that. Go ahead. Go ahead. Clap for it. I thank you now for it. I was mad at her. I really was mad at you. And when we talked on the phone, you said I probably called you all these names. I didn't. I thought them in my head, but yeah. You saved my life. But she kept her word. For the first time, I saw a judge care. You know, it wasn't just a, you're here, now you're going home, you'll go to your next court date at the courthouse. Put me in jail, I had a detox in jail. No medicine. Montgomery County Jail did not want to even take my vitals. So I had to detox for 4 days on a top bunk, on Q-Pod, in a dorm-like setting with maybe 12 other guys in each room. Yeah. And you know that people that have been through the withdrawals, the shakes, the legs, you can't stop shaking your legs. I had to find a way to stop so I didn't make the guy that was sleeping under me mad and he would want to fight me. I had to hide my paperwork while I was in jail just because of what happened in my DUI accident. I didn't want anybody to come after me. 4 days later, on April 8th, 2019, Judge Duffy actually got me into the same rehab that my mom tried to get me into a few months prior, Recovery Centers of America. I didn't even know where I was going. I was just told to pack my bags up, and there was a nice black car outside with a nice guy in it, and he said, hey, you want some snacks? And I said, where am I going? Because if you're taking me to Eagleville, you might as well take me right back into jail. But he took me to RCA, and it was like a 5-star hotel. I said, oh, I'm at home here. But the whole time that I was in there, I had the thought that I was going to get out of here, I was going to go back home, and I was just going to go do what I was going to do. You know, I was going to go back on the run. But Judge Duffy, you told my sister and my friend, and Hope Stein, I know she's here. She's not. Well, her brother, I'll get to that. But I tried to get out of going to a recovery house. I had this plan that I'm gonna go back home. I'm not gonna go to a recovery house. I don't need to do that. My therapist took one look at me and said, well, we were told that if you do that, the judge is gonna put a warrant out for your arrest. Yeah, the rehab knew too.
Really sound mean.
No. But it's called tough love. But again, it's another situation where I was trying to get my way, you know? Like, I thought it was going to be my way or the highway. And during that time in that rehab, I really worked on myself for the first time. I had a great therapist who gave me challenges after challenges, do this, do that, and I completed every challenge, every one. And she said I was the first person to ever do that. So after that, I was sent to the Virtue House, who Hope Stein's brother actually owns, and it was the best thing that could have happened to me. I met a lot of great guys during that time, and I was also able to work on myself. I was able to go through the steps, the 12 steps, attend meetings, speak at meetings, and just be there for other guys that I lived with. And on a lot of them I knew from the street, But it was a great time. It saved my life being in that house. But in the back of my mind, I knew at some point I was going to have to face the whole DUI situation. That was going to have to be handled. On December 5th, 2019, my 8-month anniversary, my sober date is April 5th, 2019. But on December 5th, 2019, as I'm celebrating 8 months, I was standing in front of Judge William Carpenter turning myself in. I was signed over to the Department of Corrections for a 1 to 5 year sentence. That's what I was given. I got lucky. Could have been worse. People could have died, and I would have been in jail for probably the rest of my life. But during that time when I was in state prison, it was very rough. I saw a lot of things that it was hard. You know, you had to watch your back every day. You know, just had to watch what you say, watch how you act. You know, you get told when to take a shower, when to go to bed, when to stand up, like all that stuff that we hate. I hate authority figures. I hate being told that. I even had a CO tell me I wasn't able to shower one day, and I looked at him like, are you kidding me? But I was moved around from jail I was at SCI Phoenix, then to Camp Hill, and then I finally went to Chester, and I was in jail during COVID, so of course I was locked down more than I should have been, and that was very hard too, mentally. But I had a lot of time to think, and I thought back to when Judge Duffy did what she did for me, because somebody in jail actually explained it to me that she saved my life, and I was still mad at you. Even in being in state prison, I was still mad at you. But when my cellie explained that to me, it made sense, because that's what you did. You saved my life, and I needed that. I needed your intervention, your program to step in, because I was going to die, and my mom would have lost her son. I completed the year. I got out on parole in November of 2020. I actually told the parole board I told them to keep me in there. They asked me the question, what would the victims of your accident think if they found out that you were getting out? And I looked at this guy on the TV screen and I said, they probably would tell you to keep me in here. And I said, if that's your choice, that's your choice. I deserve it. I deserve to be in this jail. I deserve to be in prison for what I did. During that time, I was supposed to do the state drug treatment program, SIP, but I believe they changed it around now. So I had to get resentenced, and I did the opiate therapeutic community at SCI Chester. That program's a mess. I'm not gonna lie, I'm being honest. It is. They allow people they allow drug dealers in that program. And I'm talking about the dealers that don't care about what they sell to people. Because in my mind, there's a difference. There's the dealers that sell and they don't care to people, and there's the dealers that sell to feed their habit. And they're the ones that really need the help. The ones that sell and just don't care about people's lives, they're the criminals in my eyes. They are. And that's just the truth. And that's how I feel. Sorry, were you gonna? No, okay. So when I got out, I obviously went back to the same recovery house I was in. I have the Virtue House, South Broad Street on Lansdale. Okay. So I went.
Somebody from the Y.
So I went back to the recovery house after prison, and I was obviously on parole for the next 4 years. So from 2020 to 2024, I completed parole, no violations, not one in 4 years. Passed every drug test, did everything that was asked of me, followed all the rules. Because I promised myself when I was at SCI Chester that when I got out, I was never going to come back, and I was going to do everything that parole asked me to do, even if I hated my PO. But luckily, I got blessed with 3 amazing POs that actually cared about me, and they were great, and I wish they were here tonight. But going back to the whole program being a mess thing.
No.
No? No? We're not doing that? All right. Okay, so I ended up managing the recovery house later on down the road after being home. And, now sobriety has given me, a wonderful husband, has given my mother her son back. I'm able to have the trust with my mom back. I have 6 years of sobriety, and I'm very grateful to be here. I'm very grateful for this program and Judge Duffy for saving my life, so thank you.
That's amazing. That's an amazing story. And I'm going to switch over to my next guest, who is also a pain in the butt, if I ever met one. But Rob Moyer, where is his family? Let's say hi. Woo! Yeah. Boy, we went through a lot together. But he's going to tell you his story. I don't need to do that. And, he greeted me, was it almost a year ago, right? Yeah. By surprise, came in with his mom and flowers and the biggest hug. And he's doing great, so go ahead, you tell him your story. Yeah, should be fine.
Sean? All right.
There you go.
I got a deep voice, so bear with me, all right? All right, so my nerves are real bad. I don't know, I guess I'll just start with, so look, all I want to give you, it's not a thought out story or none of that, it's just experience, strength, and hope from what I went through. But I just, as a kid, man, my father left when I was about 5 years old. My mom moved in with my grandma. My grandma, my uncles were around. I guess my mom just wanted to get out of the situation that we were in with my abusive father, alcoholic, and she did the best she could, man. I was given everything. I was given the newest toys, the newest games. My mom sacrificed a lot for me, and my grandmom too, and that just goes to show you, man, after what I tell you in this story, that really it doesn't always matter your upbringing and how you were raised. That's not always what matters. So, but yeah, man, my mom worked at Prudential. I just want to, I don't get to highlight this enough, what my mom sacrificed for me, man. And my mom worked at Prudential at the help desk till I was about 10 years old. A really single mother, hardly any help from my father. If anything, she had to bring him to the courts to get help every time, like pulling teeth. And she worked at the help desk at Prudential, and the help desk, I guess, moved to another country. So at 39, 40-something years old, a single mother with the son, me, that had, ADHD problems and was being rebellious and stuff like that. She went to go back to school to be a nurse, man, and she became a nurse, a LPN. And I just, I never get a chance to thank her enough, man. I appreciate her so much. Just everything, man. Just everything I am today is all due to my mom and my grandma, man. And yeah, so my mom does that. She works hard, crazy hours. I start off with a little bit of weed. It kind of all started like Joe said, man. I never really felt like not even like I just didn't fit in. I felt like I had to either impress people or kind of like I always had, not even follow the leader. I don't know the right word, but acceptance. I needed to be accepted by people, anybody, honestly. And I don't know if it was the attention or what it was, but I always chased. I was a chaser. I had to chase something, acceptance. A certain feeling. I was always on a chase for something, and it started with weed and the alcohol, and then it just kind of my natural progression. And I kind of knew I was an addict, man, at like 15 years old, because when I started to drink, it wasn't just like normal. Like I realized that I could talk to women and like look them in the eye and feel comfortable like when I drank. So after like that first time of getting that feeling and the relief, like the alcohol, it basically like helped me with something. It gave me a better feeling. So once I realized I was like masking something, I kept like chasing that too. So the next day I drank. I probably drank every day for like right after my first time drinking for like the first like 2 months, like every day almost. So now looking back, I knew I was an addict probably back at like 15 years old. But yeah, like the natural progression, I went from alcohol to pills, and then when I started to snort Percocet, I was like 16, 17. I was still on track to graduate high school, so I was doing that. I was kind of hiding it very well, like us addicts do. And yeah, I would say that was like the first love of my life, man. The first time I sniffed a Percocet, because the feeling that it gave me and the inadequacies and the things that I didn't feel I was good at, or my shortcomings had like covered up. So yeah, and like again, that just after that, I finally graduated high school again with the help of my mom and my grandmom. I graduated high school, and then I found heroin, and I'm about 21 years old. And when I found heroin, I quickly after that became I not only fell in love with heroin, I fell in love with the life and the process of going down the city to cop drugs and being on the block getting high, and with the people that I felt like I was just like, because again, I never felt comfortable. I don't even know the type of person I'm even trying to describe, like the 9-to-5 normal working person. I just didn't even feel like I was that type of guy or comfortable with them. I just I always felt like a misfit, or I just didn't fit in anywhere. So when I discovered what Kensington was all about, even though like Joe said, it's something that you can't even describe, I actually felt comfortable there, and it's really hard to explain. But so yeah, so again, the natural progression, I start doing fentanyl after that. Thank God I never progressed to an IV. I don't know how I didn't. The good Lord, I guess, I don't know, but I never did. And crack cocaine and fentanyl became like a full-time job for me, man. For about a 10-year period at least, I just I either on a daily basis, I either stole, lied, cheated, manipulated, or used a drug in one form or another, all of them things every day for a 10-year period. So it kind of all came to a head about 3 years ago. Things got so bad. Now, I've hit my bottom throughout the years before that, but I always kind of had a mom, a grandmom, or a good like support system to catch me, so I really didn't fall. I've been, in the same story as everybody else, in and out of jails, death jails and institutions is what they say. So I've done the first two, man. But yeah, I just kind of 3 years ago, like I said, it came to a head, and I got kicked out of my grandmother's 65 and under community living place, that's embarrassing. But yeah, I got put on the trespassing list, and I got forced kind of to go to Kensington. I had nowhere to go, literally nowhere to go. And I was coming back on the train like 2 weeks after I got kicked out up this way from Kensington, and my mom wouldn't give me money for my next fix, so I called the Lansdale or Colmar police on my mother and said that she's holding my EBT card hostage. And so
you can't make this stuff up.
I call, and now mind you, I meet Judge Duffy like months before that when I got the tickets and everything, and I had to go to court. So of course she's not stupid, like she knows, she sees right through it. She got to go along with it because I didn't have anything at that first date like that was criminal past the traffic stuff. So there was nothing really that went further past just me seeing her and the fines I had to do and everything like that. So fast forward the thing where I called the police on my own mother. They called my mom to come back, and it was kind of like a rookie cop, I forget. I don't know if he was buying my bull crap. I was like 12 hours in on a withdrawal anyway, so I was like throwing up, the other end. It was bad in the parking lot of the Wawa on 309, and this is how sick it gets, that you don't even process that you could go to jail because you have a warrant that you don't even know about or you do know about, and you're just trying to get your EBT card, because all I could think about at that time was just not being sick. Like, I didn't even want to get high. At that point in my life, I was using to literally make it another hour. And that's like a hard feeling to describe to people if you don't really like live it. And even looking back on it now, it's crazy to think about. But yeah, I was literally living like hour to hour, maybe less than that. But so the cops come, the kind of rookie cop, I don't want to say rookie cop, but he was a newer cop, young cop, and he was kind of like calling my mom, like, yeah, bring his card back. It's like, I'm like, damn, it's working. Like, I want my card back. And this other cop, like lieutenant, was like, hold on, man, he looks rough right now. Like, something's going on with him. And and mind you, I'm wearing clothes that I don't even know who they are. They're not mine. I didn't buy them. I was homeless. I don't know what I was wearing on my body. I had nothing to my name except that EBT card. So the other cop goes, hold on, what is going on here? Something's not right. And then he looked up further and seen that I had traffic or fines for my tickets that I didn't warrants. And he said, I can't bring you, I forget the words he used, I can't bring you in right now, or I'm not going to bring you in right now, and I'm not going to give you a ride. But in 20 minutes, I'm going down to that court, and I want to see you there, and your mother's holding on to your EBT card. You're not getting that either. So, damn. I'm fishing to get out of it, like us addicts do. We're trying to do everything we can to get out of this situation and not be where we are at that minute. And I go to the court, and it became like an intervention that day. My mom bawling her eyes out. Her dog was even there. I was petting the dog. I'm withdrawn. She brought out a basket for me to throw up in. It was really nice. It was a whole thing. And
You say so.
And so that day. Now, I'm going to say something that's going to sound crazy, because that day I did not get treated. So I'll finish. So we're doing all that, and that same cop brings me to the Lansdale Hospital, and because you have to get that's another thing. You got to do all this stuff, which that's why I support her too. The help with trying to get people into the rehabs quicker and easier is like a big problem out there. So I went to the Lansdale Hospital, had to suffer withdrawal, sitting there throwing up everywhere. It was horrible. The same cop that told me to walk there brought me there. Now he dropped me off. So as soon as he dropped me off, my wheels are spinning. I'm trying to manipulate and get out of it instantly. My mom, I manipulate again. My mother that just went through hell today after she just worked 12, you'll make me cry. After she just worked 12 hours. She came home, and after I called the cops on her, she still picks me up and gives me money because I manipulated her into, whether she knows though, she's not dumb. It's a sickness in itself that she just kind of wanted it all to be done. But I had her think that a place behind the judge's office, she didn't know this, I don't even think, was a treatment place that was going to take me. So I got money out of I got money out of my mom, and I got my mom to bring me back there, right? I take the train down to Kensington. I didn't get clean, obviously. I did not get clean then. And the reason why I still say she saved my life, because a lot of people in that situation would have either pushed me away like they have, or did the by the book thing and okay, we'll see what we can do and call them back or whatever you want to, you know what I mean? But she sat there for at least 2.5 hours and sat with us and made calls to the woman Hope, and on her cell phone nonetheless too. She just, whatever she could think of, she was trying to help. And So I go back down Kensington after I manipulate my mom for the last time, because at that point I didn't see my mom. From that point on, I was homeless in Kensington until September 24th was the last day of my use. And on September 24th, I skipped ahead of a lot, but on September 24th, I called the ambulance from a corner store, a bodega on Roar and Allegheny Avenue, which was the only one that was open at that late at night at 2 a.m. I had no jacket, I was freezing cold, and I couldn't breathe, and I couldn't turn to my right side, so I kind of knew something was wrong. I don't know what it was, but I called the ambulance. I sniffed my last bag. I went to Episcopal Hospital, and they immediately come in and tell me that I have pus and fluid filled up in my right lung, and my right lung collapsed, and I have MRSA and a fungal infection in my right lung. So I immediately get transported to Temple Lung Center, and I go to the lung center, and I was in the lung center for about 34 days, something like that, give or take, 35 days, and 2 surgeries, and I got a valve put in my lung, which a couple months later I get out of the hospital, I get the valve removed from my lung, I go to Eagleville, and then from Eagleville I go to Self-Help Movement, which is at the end of the boulevard in Philadelphia, and I now live above there in the step-down housing, which I'm on my own. I pay rent, I pay for a room. I work there, and I work at Beacon Point Rehab in Kensington. So I got 2 jobs, both at the rehabs that I've been through. And I got 15 months sober now. So, and a lot of it is to the 2 women and my family right here, but it's to this woman too. And at that time, I was sick. Even back then, she said, I'm going to come back I'm going to need you for something when you make it and you do good. And I'm thinking like, oh, like, what, okay, yeah, I got you. So a couple weeks ago, she asked me, or like a month or so ago, she asked me again. She said when we brought the flowers and she brought it up, and I didn't think it was going to be so soon because I hate public speaking, as you can see. But yeah, and anything for her, man. Today I can show up for people, and people need me for things and want me for things. So I've been through a lot, and yeah, this program definitely saves lives. And a lot of the lives that were lost were friends of mine, brothers of mine, people I grew up with. I lost too many to count, and I'm blessed to be able to be here and talk to you guys today. So thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Seems like this is the best microphone. All right, so the next one, and we're going to get shorter, I guess. We'll try. I think he's a man of lesser words, right? Trevor, I met while running for re-election and going door to door in Montgomery Township. So, yeah, I'm just walking along, looking at my little clipboard, and he goes, Judge Duffy? Right?
Yeah, you met me prior to that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, but I mean, this is how I re-met you. I should re-met you. And he said the same thing. I have to thank you. You saved my life. And that's not what I expected while going out door to door asking for votes. So I'm going to let Trevor talk a little bit. I don't know if this microphone is going to, this one's a pain. Maybe you could, can we switch seats just for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because this one is a good one. All right.
Short and sweet.
So that's a funny way to re-meet someone who you had helped, but go ahead, talk about it. And he was even interviewed for this really wonderful long article. Remember that?
Yeah.
The reporter? Yeah. They did, I was so blessed. I went down to Kensington with the Narcotic Strike Force, and I also went with a group called AIM, Angels in Motion. And yeah, that was a funny one, wasn't it? Yeah, I passed out, but we won't talk about that. But anyway, they did a whole story on me going down there, and they interviewed Trevor for this story. So go ahead.
I guess.
And you're a work in progress.
I don't even think DARA was even a thing.
It really wasn't quite a thing yet.
Back then. I guess my story starts when I started doing drugs when I was 9 years old, getting high with my mom and the rest of my family. So I grew up thinking that was what you did, was just party and work during the week and party on weekends. And so that led me into all types of drugs and trouble and my whole life. And I forget exactly why I came to our courtroom, but it was robbing one of my in-laws or something. And they didn't want me to go to jail, but they talked to her about getting me help some way, so she made me enroll in an IOP program somewhere, and I had to bring her proof that I was going every week or every 2 weeks or something. I had to go, bring her proof, and then if I didn't, obviously going to jail. So I thought recovery was a joke back then, and somewhere along the lines of her making me go, I actually took it serious, and after that I stayed clean for a while, and over the years it relapsed and back and forth in and out of the streets and Kensington and all that, but yeah.
You're doing fine now.
Yeah, I'm doing good now, but without your help then, I could have died. I went to school with Stephanie. Yes, I knew Stephanie. And everybody else, all our friends that died. I watched a lot of friends die from that school year, so maybe if they all had a chance in this program, they could have lived too, but I don't know how quick you want me to be.
That's okay. So far, everybody's staying, yeah.
Yeah, everybody's still here.
All right.
I don't like talking either.
That's okay. No. But
You told me it was just going to ask me questions.
Well, I was thinking, I know, I lied a little bit, didn't I? Yeah, I did. I know. I do that once in a blue moon. But anyway, the most important thing is even though you're a work in progress, you're a positive work in progress. You're doing fine now, and that's what really matters. We're going to keep in touch, and we're going to keep making this work. That's what really is important today, that people see that, yeah, relapse can be a part of recovery. Unfortunately, it's a reality, but you made it through. We can't help people unless they're alive. So last but not least is Courtney. Courtney and I met, I don't know, a year ago about, I can't even remember. But Courtney is a self-made story, but I'm really proud of her, so I wanted her to come talk today. And then I have one little story to talk about.
Okay. Hello. Pardon me, I'm a little nervous today. I don't typically talk about my experience, but my drug of choice was alcohol. I probably realized I started having a problem back in 2020. When the pandemic came, we were all very isolated and quarantined. I think I started drinking more and more and drinking in excess anytime I did pick up alcohol. I think for a very long time I was in denial about it. My sister had struggled, my father had struggled, and I thought what I was experiencing was very, very different. Today, I realized that I avoided things like therapy or talking about alcohol because I think in the back of my mind I knew it was getting out of control, but I didn't want to admit that to myself or anybody else. I struggled for a number of years, and I finally quit drinking about 2 years ago. I had started going through fertility treatment. Me and my husband really wanted to have a child, and we're struggling, and it was more important to me to live a very healthy lifestyle rather than continue to drink and spiral. So for about 2 years, I was sober, I was not drinking, I was thriving as I went through fertility treatment. As I got pregnant, had a very healthy pregnancy, had my son, and unfortunately had a very, very traumatic birth and postpartum experience where I feel like I just completely backslid. I fell into a deep, deep hole and almost immediately started drinking again. And it got really out of control quickly, and I felt like I wasn't in a place to ask for help. I was a new mom, I was supposed to be handling it. I'm on maternity leave, I have all of this time to get my life together. What was wrong with me? So I was struggling, and I just wasn't talking about it at all. Come February, so a couple of months after I had my son, about 7 months after, I had been drinking the night before pretty heavily on a Saturday night. Sunday I was supposed to go to a funeral. I was very much dreading it. Had a couple of drinks in the morning, put my son in the car, went for a drive to go to this funeral. Ended up bumping into the car in front of me. There was no damage, no injury, but the woman who I'd bumped into noticed that I was clearly under the influence and called the police. The police came, they could tell I was under the influence and arrested me on the spot. And it was just, a wake-up call doesn't begin to describe what was going through my mind. I was somebody who had never been in trouble before, lived my life to the letter of the law. I was a planner. I'd never been in trouble with my parents, school, nothing, and it just felt like my entire world collapsed in that moment. I don't like feeling out of control. I felt completely out of control. I was in the darkest of dark places. 24 hours after my arrest, I decided I had to do something. I could not stand the way I was feeling. I felt so completely consumed by shame and regret and everything else that I had immediately gone on and started looking for treatment options. I looked for options for hours and hours and hours. At the time, I had never even heard of IOP, but it seemed to me that that was something that I could do. I was going back to work. I could do IOP in the evenings. I could start taking care of myself mentally. So I had entered into this IOP program within 3 days of my DUI. At the same exact time, CYS got involved in my life because my son was in the car while I had gotten arrested for the DUI. So again, I'm still struggling with just immense shame. I'm trying to get it together in IOP. I'm trying to come clean with family members in my life of what I've been going through, what I've been hiding, and just getting support from them. I went through IOP for about 3 months. CYS was also involved in my life for 3 months. During that time, I had moved back in with my parents, with my husband and my son, to make sure we had the, mental and well-being support from them and their support, which was very helpful. 2 weeks after I ended my IOP program, I had already gotten myself into individual therapy, and at that time, I had met Judge Duffy. So she came into my life right as I was finishing this program and trying to figure out how do I keep my life on track. And when I met Judge Duffy, she was rightfully pretty hard on me. I had gotten this DUI. I was well over the limit. I had my 7-month-old son in the car. Like, who does that? But she complimented me for proactively seeking help before it was something that the DUI administration or anybody else told me that I needed, which I definitely needed. And just hearing that from somebody in her position felt so validating that I was doing the right things to get myself on the right track. And it just motivated me to keep doing what I was doing. So after that, I entered general outpatient therapy. I do that for 2 hours every single week. I've taken parenting classes. I've signed up for programs that the county offers. There's something called Nurturing Parenting, where they come to your house, they teach you how to be a parent educator at home. I have done everything in my power to try to just be a better version of myself every single day, and that looks different every day. Maybe it's that I take time for myself to go work out at the gym, to have some kind of outlet for the negative feelings that I have. Sometimes it's making sure I carve out, an extra hour out of my work day to leave and go spend time with my son. But the most important thing for me is to take it day by day, and just at the end of the day ask myself, do I feel good about what I did today? Do I feel good about who I am today? And I can say that the answer is yes. I was talking in general outpatient therapy this week about how nervous I was to come here tonight and talk about this experience, because I still feel just so much shame and regret around it. It's hard to talk about sometimes. But what I shared with them was that I'm proud of myself for doing it, because I would not have been able to sit in a room like this a couple of months ago and talk about one of the most shameful things that I've ever done. And for me, it just means progress. For me, being able to talk about it means that when I do struggle in the future with things that are very, very hard, mentally or otherwise, I can talk about it. I've practiced this. I have resources now in place to be able to go to those folks and say, I'm having a hard time, I need help. Which I didn't have prior. So I'm just very proud of myself today, and I'm happy to speak here, and thank you, Judge Duffy, for having me.
Thank you. All right, I have one more cute story. Danielle Devereaux, she's in the back there. I just want you to come up, and this is a magical story, honestly. I don't know how else to call it. She picked up someone along the road who needed to come to court. Yeah, just come on up right here with me. That's fine. And I'll let her tell the story, because she's an incredible human being. Go ahead.
Thank you. Hi guys, I'm Danielle, and last August, I left my house at a different time, and this will make sense in a minute, on a different day, and did different things than were planned. And this is important to me because it was the timing of how everything played out. When I went to go do my errands, I was putting bags in my car and I noticed somebody on Route 309 in 90-degree heat. And I see them walking with this heavy bag. And I just get this, call it my knowing, he needs help. And I had that moment of, am I really gonna just roll up on this random person and be like, hey, what do you need? And I did. And at first he was nervous. He said, what did I do wrong? I said, honey, get in the car. Let's get some air on you. What's going on? He said, Judge Duffy said if I can get to court, even though I'm 2 or 3 hours late, she won't put a warrant out for me. He had walked all the way from the train station down 309 and was not giving up to get to you. And I thought, this is so strange, and we finally found your court, which is fun, by the way. And I think I'm gonna drop him off. And he looks at me with this just sweet little boy face and said, will you come with me? And I did. And it was one of the greatest days of my life because I got to meet you. And at one point, she's talking to him and you could see you're trying to help him within the bounds of the law. And you look at me and you're like, and who are you? I said, I just picked him up on 309. You know, as you do. And she just blinked at me. And I said, I was moved to help him. And then began her recognizing what he needed was treatment. And he wanted it. He was ready. He was so ready. And I spent the next 3 days of my life in what I will forever remember as the amazing race for me of trying to save this man's life because he was unhoused in Kensington and I was getting him a bed come hell or high water. And you gave me all the connections I could need. And when you say your name, it has some weight, girl. Like, people get stuff done. Well, Judge Duffy said, I didn't quite say that, but you get the gist. And so it was really heartwarming for me to be able to honor this man and you and just not be afraid. Don't get involved, right? That's his garbage or whatever. I didn't think in those terms. It was, I wanted to do something because it felt good. And I am happy to say he made it through the program. He's in sober living now for 6 months, and as of a month ago was doing very, very well. And that's all because you gave me the tools to do it. Thank you.
All right, I guess we've kept you here enough, but I would really love it if you could stay. These wonderful people have stayed from the various facilities and organizations, so please go talk to them for one last moment. And more importantly, look at all that Narcan sitting back there. That's just waiting for you to save a life. I carry it with me all the time in my purse. Make sure you leave with some. He's got plenty back there. I keep it at my court. My fellow judges who are here, you're welcome to take some. And thank you, Judge Ash, for being here too. But I want to thank everybody. I'm so grateful for everyone coming together as a community to show people struggling that you care, that you want to learn, you want to help these people, and you want to support them. So we learn together. We end stigma together, we carry Narcan together, we save lives together, we destroy addiction. Thank you so much for being here.